and the great job in which he did. He did his job the way, the way that it needs to be done. It was fair, had a good heart about it, and really told the truth. And so that's, as a sitting in this position, that's all you can obviously ask for. So, but a lot of respect for him and the job in which he did. And we saw him grow right here in Kansas City. And, it's just a tragic deal. The other part I wanted to address was about Britt Reid. Obviously my prayers and thoughts go out to everybody involved. Because of the legal situation, I can't talk about it now, but just from a humane standpoint, my heart goes out to those that are involved with it. Like I mentioned, we do have the opportunity to talk to the players today. This is the beginning of phase one. It'll be virtual for us, and we'll have a 2-hour block there where we can visit with the players on the actual scheme evaluations that we've been going through as a staff here on this past season. Again, that's always an interesting time because you can go through and make yourself a better football team if you approach it the right way. And so that's what we're working towards in this still pandemic era here. We're working through it the best way we possibly can. We've been able to add some players to our roster, and we lost a few, and with Mitch Schwartz and Fish, Sammy Sherm, Damian Wilson. That these are people that are potentially moving on. Unfortunately, with the first two that I mentioned, with Schwartz and Fish, you run into these cap situations. Brett Veach and his crew have done a great job of managing this to give us opportunities to continue to work at the top of the league as a football team. And so some of these things had to be done. But the greatest thing about this is those guys, with their stay in Kansas City, they go out as champs, and they can hold that with them, and they'll be reared here for forever, and celebrated for that forever in this city. And so, and again, you never know. This is a small fraternity of teams, and so you never know what goes around could come back around to you. And so, not that they're not back with us at some point, but that door always remains open. These guys did it the right way here. And then the addition with the Joe Tooney, Kyle Long, Jaron Reed, we've added a few people in here, and Veach isn't done. You know how he rolls. He's very aggressive, and and he's staying on top of his game. We get Larry back, Tardif, and so I think that's a nice positive to add into that offensive line mix. So I think we've got a pretty good nucleus going there. Also had a few coaching changes take place. Greg Lewis is going to have the opportunity to move over to running backs. There wasn't a lot of changeover in the staff, so I want guys to continue to be able to have that opportunity to grow. Greg actually came to me about wanting to the challenge of coaching the running backs. And as you guys know how I feel about Greg, he's very, very intelligent, has a great feel for the game, did a phenomenal job with the wide receivers. And now he's able to learn that other side, the protection side, and all that goes into coaching the running backs in the run game, and still give them tips in the pass game to make them even better than what they are now. And then Joe Blameyer, who I've also mentioned before, has an opportunity to coach the wide receivers. He's been the assistant wide receiver coach for a couple of years, and he moved back to quarterbacks, and then now he's back in the wide receiver room as our full-time coach. David Garrardi will take Joe's spot as the pass game analyst, assistant quarterbacks coach. Connor Embry, who was working as a defensive assistant, now moves over to the offensive side. You remember he played wide receiver at Kansas. He moves over to the offensive side as an offensive quality control coach. Hired Ken Flagel on the defensive side to coach the outside linebackers. Ken and I go way back to our time at El Paso, at the University of Missouri, the Green Bay Packers, and then and now back here. So Ken's got a long list of great accomplishments in the profession. Donald D'Alicio is our defensive assistant. He takes the place of Connor Embry and comes from the college ranks back to us here in Kansas City, and he'll do a nice job. He's got a nice defensive background to him, and he'll be a nice addition in there. And then Tyler Judkins replaces Travis Critton, who took a job working internationally in the Caribbean, one of the islands there, and Turks and Caicos. So it gives him an opportunity to develop future Olympians. And then Tyler Judkins gets to replace him here. I say that I was hesitant to tell you Turks and Caicos. In case you're there, go ahead and look them up. I mean, you can look at a small island, go ahead and look them up. Maybe you get a free meal from them. So Tyler, again, he'll become our assistant strength and conditioning coach. So I think with that, I've covered most of the new things that have taken place right here. You're free to again ask your questions.
Let's go first to Herbie Tiopi. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Coach. Good morning. Always good to see you.
Yes, Herbie. Thank you.
Hey, a couple questions here. We got a few players returning off of injury: Mahomes, Willie Gay, DeAndre Baker, Taco Charlton. Where are they in their process in recovery from surgery, and then how are you projecting them to be ready for on-field work in a month and a half? And then the second question will follow.
Yeah, so I think Herbie, they're actually doing well, making progress. They've been coming back into the building, which helps. Where our guys can work with them a bit here, and so that's been a positive. I can tell you firsthand that things are getting better. I know Pat ends up being kind of the primary concern as we go, but they're all good football players and can help us win football games, which obviously is our goal, our final goal. So, but Pat's doing tremendous. He's got great flexibility in that toe. He's worked his tail off. Not a real fun thing to do with that. It seems like a small thing, but that toe was rather large and stiff before the surgery and after the surgery. So he's really worked hard at getting that right.
And the second question, I was going to ask about the offensive line, but Alex Smith just announced his retirement. What are your thoughts when you think of Alex Smith now riding off into the sunset after his career and your time with him?
Yeah, so I mean, you guys know what I feel about him. He's just a heck of a person. Had a great career. Played so many years here with different teams, and everywhere he went, he made them better. I texted him a while back. If he gets into coaching, I get first dibs on him. So, which I doubt he will, but it's if he decides to go that route, he would be a guy that you'd love to have on your staff. So, but he's special person, go down as one of my all-time favorites there.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Andy, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Adam.
Good. Hey, just curious, the situation with Britt, can you sort of take us what kind of personal challenge that's been for you and what this has been like for you and for Tammy and for the family?
Yeah, you know what, Adam, I think I'm just stay away from it. I mean, like I said, my prayers and thoughts are for everybody involved in this. I mean, obviously. So, but I think I'm just going to stay away from it. I think you guys know how my feelings on things, and I'm sensitive to, situations and people in particular. So on both sides of this.
Let's go next to Mick Schaefer. Go ahead, Mick.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned the interior additions on the offensive line. I'm wondering if there's still more additions to be made for the tackle positions, or if you think those answers are in-house right now.
Yeah, so we forget about the couple. Yang's the other one that we had high hopes for last year, and had a couple nice days with us before he opted out. And I think we're okay there now. But I've said this before, Brett's always keeping his eyes open. So we'll see how it all ends up. But we've got some good competition in there. I think we know, Kyle Long had played tackle, was an all-pro tackle actually his rookie year. And so we've got, we've got options and people in there, but I'm not going to tell you. I wouldn't tell you at any position that we're done looking. I mean, that's just not. We're always going to keep our eyes open, try to make ourselves better, which we need to do. We've got to do that. When you're sitting in our position, you're not just striving to stay the same. You're trying to get yourself better.
Go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Coach. Good to see you again. Joe Thuney has been the biggest acquisition for you guys this offseason. Really happened very quickly. Why was that so intentional? And what about his game in particular made him so critical to get here in Kansas City?
Yeah, Joe gives you good flexibility. You can play either guard or, center, and doing it at Pro Bowl level. So arguably one of the better guards in the league right now. If you look at him the past few years, he's just done a tremendous job. So we thought that addition in there would be great. He comes from a great culture from New England, understands what it takes to be on a winning team and keep that winning going forward. So we welcomed him aboard with that and thought it was important to get him.
Let's go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy.
Hi, Sam.
Hey, I understand that you can't comment on Britt's case, but I'm wondering, just generally speaking, what is the alcohol policy inside the facility? I mean, are coaches permitted to drink inside the practice facility?
Well, there is a policy. There's also a league policy, and I can't go into all of that for you, Sam, but there obviously is a policy.
Let's go next to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned about how phase one is going to be virtual for you. And I'm curious, what did you learn from last year's virtual offseason program that you liked and didn't like? And are there things that you want to do differently this year as far as you approach that?
Yeah, I think you asked me that question once before, Matt, and kind of the same way there. Yeah, so listen, you can get things done. The most valuable thing, though, that you get when you've got the players here that you can't get virtually is the on-field experience, and being able to teach Willie Gay coming in as a rookie how to move and drop and your fundamentals and techniques, the different coverages that he's got to take care of, run fit responsibilities. When you're not hands-on, it's hard to walk through those things. And so you end up retarding the first year player, second, third year player a bit by only being able to do it virtually. That ends up being a bit of an issue. The other part comes in is being able to put new things in. So without exhausting it, and again, without coaches taking advantage of situations, I think that's also important. But you're able to give the players some new thoughts that through all the scheme eval that you discuss with them. Hey, listen, let's try this, and let's just take a look at it. Let's see what it looks like. If it's no good, we can throw it out there rather than wasting time during training camp going over.
Got time for a couple more. We'll go Tyrann and then Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Tyrann.
And Brett, I'll have a follow-up if I could. Coach, on what was the process like with your players as far as, we've heard a lot of other teams say, hey, we're not coming together, and they release a statement. How did the discussion go? Did you talk with the guys? Did you talk with the leaders? Did they reach out to you as to how this offseason is going to work?
Yeah, so I gave them an idea of how it was going. I mean, things got kind of finalized right here at the end. But I trust our guys are going to work out and get that part done. I trust that they're going to be on the calls for right now, which I think is important. I mean, we can go over this whole scheme eval, and you know how much time we spent on that, Tyrann. I mean, we endless hours on that thing, just trying to make it right. And so I think that's important. And that's the crawl before you walk, when hopefully you're able to get the guys in one of the other phases. But for right now, this ends up being the most important thing as we move forward. Yeah.
And then from a left tackle perspective, I know you don't have to turn around and play tomorrow, but who would be the guys that would be in the mix? I know you value flexibility. You talked about Long's flexibility, but who are some of the guys that right now you look at and say they'd be in the mix to play left tackle if you did have to play?
We're fitting that through, but we had aspirations of potentially moving Yang over to that spot. He looked like he had some potential for that when we had him last. Obviously Kyle has that flex to be able to do something like that. He's played inside too. I mean, the majority of the time he played inside, but he wasn't bad on the outside either. So, and then we've got guys coming back. So whether it's Rim or whether it's Andrew, we've got guys that have also have flexibility to play in those spots.
We'll go last to Sam Mellinger. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Andy. Good to see you.
All right, Sam.
Brad, I've got just a quick housekeeping thing and then kind of more of a question. First, Andy, do you have a sense for how many of your players or staff have been vaccinated?
I do. There's listen, I'm giving you approximates now. So
sure.
There's approximately 18 that have been vaccinated. The staff will have an opportunity to do that starting tomorrow. Right now, there's a handful of them that have already been vaccinated, myself included. I think the more we can push towards that, I think that's a positive. I think giving people an opportunity to do it, I think is great as we move forward. So I just, anyways, that's my own. Listen, that's my own thought on it. I don't want anybody to get sick, and I surely don't want anybody to pass away. So I think in certain situations, a vaccine becomes important. We've seen it, from the polio era on through, that things have taken place where it's helped us as humans here move forward. So I put that probably right there. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks. And then the other 2.5 months removed from your last game, I know the answer is probably both, right? But how much of what happened offensively was how beat up you were up front, and how much of that was, sort of what the Bucs were doing themselves strategically that may be sort of a blueprint, if you will, for teams next season?
Yeah, sure. The Bucs did a nice job. I mean, they came out and played zone coverage, and they pretty standard stuff. They played their tail off, did a great job. My hat goes off to them. They were better than we were that day. I've said before, injuries can, they can do things just to the continuity of things and mix it up a bit. And you hope you go into that game healthy, but that didn't happen. So you go do your best. We plug guys in and let's go play and let the chips fall where they may. They didn't fall in our direction. But listen, I'm not going to take anything away from the job that they did. And I'm certainly not putting the blame on anybody for our game. We need to get better, obviously. I mean, they were the better team that day. So we've got a nice goal there to shoot for.
Coach, we really appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.
All right, guys. Well, Patrick, coming your way here in a few minutes. All right, guys, we got Patrick coming up next. Hey, Patrick, are you ready for us?
Ready to go.
All right, we'll go first to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Patrick, what's going on, man?
What's up?
This might be kind of a difficult question to answer just because it's a hypothetical, but how different do you think your mentality would be this offseason, or how different is it because you're coming off of a loss rather than if you had won this game?
I mean, I think you have to take it back to the first year that I started. We lost to the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. I mean, you have to let that stuff motivate you to get better each and every day. And so you look back at that, and we were able to find a way to kind of flip a switch and make ourselves better and make a run at the Super Bowl the next year. And you have to try to have that same mentality of knowing that we've been there 2 years in a row now. We've won one, we lost one, but we have to find a way to get back and try to win it.
Let's go next to James Palmer. Go ahead, James.
Patrick, you're such a fan of the game and watching guys play. I'm curious, with all the talk of these quarterbacks at the top of this draft class, is there anybody you liked watching play college ball? I know you watch a lot of games.
No, I mean, I think all the guys are super talented. I mean, every single one of them. It's kind of crazy to see these last few years, the amount of talent, the quarterback position that's coming into the league. And it shows that guys are working at it. Guys are learning how to make themselves better, and they're coming in and competing. And so luckily enough, that we have a lot of guys coming into this league now that are playing really good football, and it makes the NFL even better.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Patrick, good to see you. Hope you're well, man.
Thank you.
Hey, 2 questions here for you. Obviously, you're going to have the most watched or monitored toe injury in recent memory. Where are you feeling with that right now, and how do you think they're going to look as far as when the uniforms come or the pads come on? And I'll have a second question after this.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm progressing well. I think I'm ahead of schedule myself. I mean, obviously we're trying to be cautious and not push me out there too soon. But I'm doing what I can. I've gotten out of the boot finally. It took forever. And now I'm trying to get back on the field and get that stuff working. And so I'm sure they'll keep me along that same pathway to I can be able to hopefully do some stuff by the end of the offseason.
And finally, with the league now going to a 17-game schedule, what was your reaction when you saw that, and how do you feel about playing 17 games?
Yeah, I mean, I think my reaction was more when we did the CBA because you knew that 17 games were coming. So I wasn't as surprised when I saw it this last year. You knew it was coming. But at the same time, I mean, something that we're going to have to adjust to. It's another game, another wear and tear on your body. You're playing 17 games, but that doesn't count preseason in the playoffs and trying to make a run at the Super Bowl. So you're going to have to figure it out. I mean, it's going to be new to everybody this next year. And so we're going to have to try to find a way to take care of our bodies enough to take that wear and tear and to still be at the top of our game at the end of the season.
Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Patrick, I have 2 questions for you as well. The first one is, with getting guys like Kyle Long, Joe Thuney, obviously Lucas Niang is coming back along with Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, just how do you feel the offensive line is right now before going into the draft? And then Brad will have a follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a lot of great guys in that offensive line room. Guys that are ready to compete, guys that played last year, and then guys that have a lot of experience coming in. And that breeds competition, and you love that. That's in every single room in this locker room is competition. You're going to go out there, compete, and try to earn your way to earning a spot and to find a way to be the best player you can be to try to get us to the Super Bowl.
And then secondly, Patrick, I know James asked you a few minutes ago about the quarterback prospects in this draft, but given the tackle situation, just how much are you looking at that position of prospects? And based on the story last year of Andy and Brett reaching out to you during the first round of the draft, do you feel like you'll have a bit of a say come this year with regards to how to, keep fortifying that offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, I try to give my input on everything I can in this building of trying to help out the team in the best way possible. But at the end of the day, I trust in Veach and I trust in Coach Reid to make the right decision for the betterment of the team. And so if they ask me, I'll give my input and do that different type of stuff. But they have a pretty good track record of getting great players in this building.
Let's go next to Blair Kirchhoff. Go ahead, Blair.
Patrick, I just wanted to know how much enjoyment are you getting out of the Royals these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have like the best record in the AL right now. I know it's by a couple of percentage points, but to see that them starting off so hot and really getting contributions from everybody on the team, that's gives me optimism of having a great run, and it's carried over from spring training, and hopefully will carry through the rest of this season.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Patrick, you talked a minute ago about your rehab from the surgery. It sounds like things are going well. Do you feel like this will be much of a setback for you when it comes to making the offseason improvement you wanted to do? And Brad, I'll have a second question as well.
I mean, I don't. I mean, it's just you have to find different ways to improve. I mean, there's so many different things I can improve in my game, and being able to kind of restart and kind of start from injury with the feet, I can really improve my footwork and try to make myself better. I mean, I've dealt with ankle injuries in my career, and being able to teach myself how to hit in the right spots with my feet by teaching myself just how to get back from this injury, I think will help me out in the long run and something I can really focus on.
Okay. And also, the off season's virtual for now, obviously, but when things, when it comes to the on-field stuff, when you guys are going to have to gather, what are the plans? Are you guys going to, is it going to be a normal off season where you think most of the guys will be there, or how do you think that'll go?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's virtual right now, so we still have a little bit of time to think about it and figure out what the best plan for us as a team. But, I mean, we're in talks with the NFLPA, and we're trying to figure out what's best for not only us, but for the entire league. I know coming into the building today and having to sit and wait for test the results to get back in, and we only have a couple people here today. I know it's going to be crazy once we get the whole roster here. So trying to figure out what's best for not only myself, not only for the Chiefs, but what's best for the teams around the league, and we'll figure it out in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be able to get back to you then.
Let's go next to Mick Schaefer. Go ahead, Mick.
Patrick, I don't know if you heard, but Alex Smith just announced his retirement, and I was wondering if you could just reflect on that 1 year you had with him and how that affected your career.
Yeah, I mean, just a tremendous guy. Obviously, a great player. Dealt with adversity throughout his career and always seemed to come on top and to be the better from it. And someone that he's dealt with different coaches, he's dealt with different systems, and he's always had success. And then obviously with the injury that he had, to be able to come back and lead his team into the playoffs, it shows the type of man that he is, the type of team player that he is. And I'm just grateful for the time that I had with him that really developed me to be the quarterback that I am today.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Patrick, I'm pretty sure this is the first time we're talking to you since the Super Bowl at the local level. Just curious what your off season's been like to date, from the surgery to rehabbing to, again, enjoying the Royals and having a baby and so on and so forth, just the last 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of rehabbing, pretty much every single day of rehabbing. I got to go to the Masters, which was kind of the only break I really had from being up here in Kansas City rehabbing. But just trying to make myself available for the team as quickly as possible. And then obviously becoming a dad, I've had to learn a lot there, probably more than I've learned in my entire life until now, of how to take care of a baby and raise a little baby girl and try to give her the best opportunity and the best life as possible.
We'll go 3 more, starting with Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Patrick, hope you're doing well, man. You just mentioned fatherhood, so that was one question. But also, just voluntarily, if you want to comment on it, just vaccinations, just your process of that. Have Andy Reid mentioned that he had been vaccinated? Have you been vaccinated? And just overall, how you feel that policy is going forward for all the players involved? What conversations have you guys had about going through getting that procedure done?
Yeah, I've been vaccinated already. To me, it was more of a personal decision with having the baby girl and knowing that I was going to be around people. I wanted to make sure I could do whatever I could to help keep her healthy. But I think it's a personal decision for everybody. I mean, whatever you believe, I think you can do whatever that is, and we'll figure out the best way to keep each other healthy by social distancing and doing whatever it is whenever we can in this building.
Let's go next to Matt Derrick. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Patrick, thanks a lot. I'm curious, how much have you watched of that Super Bowl game, going back and watching the tape? And is there anything that you've taken away from that game that you've kind of incorporated into your offseason plans as far as getting ready for next season? And Brad, one quick follow-up if I can.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched it, I think, 2 times, kind of watched 2 times and then kind of moved on from it. I'm sure I'll watch it more in the virtual offseason that we have going. Just having to continue to take what's there. I think there was times in the game where maybe we were down in the game and I try to scramble and make a play happen when I didn't have to. They were playing a lot of deep coverages, and I probably could have handed it off on some of the RPO type options that we had. And then at the end of the day, we just got to execute at a higher level as an offense. And so I know the guys are motivated to come back and do whatever we can this offseason, whenever that is, and to make ourselves the best team we possibly can.
We'll go last to Sarin Petro. Good, Sarin.
Patrick, you mentioned being a father. Congratulations on that, by the way. Those of us that have had kids understand it changes your life and it takes a lot of your time, right? So what have you had to adjust your schedule? Have you become more organized? Have you had to cut some things out of your life for all the time that comes with being a father?
Yeah, definitely not as much golf. Golf time has cut down significantly in video games. But I still am able to get out there every once in a while. Brittany's a champ. She's kind of doing it all. I'm just kind of like the cheerleader on the sideline, just asking her what I need to do. But I mean, it's a special thing. You want to be around her as much as possible. And so we still take trips here and there, but we're able to take her with us, luckily enough, and be able to spend time with her as much as we can.
Patrick, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you all.
All right, guys. Hang tight. Tyrann will be up at 11:30 here, so we got a little bit of a break, and then we'll see you guys in a bit here. just so you guys are aware, so Tyron will be probably joining us from home. So if you got the other one pinned, it'll be a different drop. we'll get started in a second. All right. Tyrann, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Awesome. All right. Well, if you're ready to start, we'll start with questions. Are you good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's start with Pete Sweeney. Go ahead, Pete.
Hey, Tyrann, good to see you again, man.
Sure.
You're always very thoughtful about what your goals are going into a season. So here you are, year 9. Just what are you setting out for yourself personally heading into this year?
To be honest, I have no personal goals. I think all my goals really come from, team, family, type things. I think the biggest thing for me this year is how can I continue to lift the guys around me? That's like the only thing that really matters to me is how can I get people to, communicate and play and study and, just be the best of themselves.
We'll go next to Sam McDowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Tyrann.
Hey.
Wanted to ask you about your contract situation. Are there talks to potentially extend your deal this offseason? And if so, what's your optimism on that happening before a season starts?
I'm a fairly optimistic guy. I'm not too concerned about money. I think I'm kind of good on that part. But yeah, I don't worry about that too much. You know what I mean? Like I said, man, the biggest thing for me is how can I continue to be the same guy, each and every day for my teammates. Because, I think when I'm able to be that person, I can bring out the best, in my room. So, money, personal goals, not really like number 1 or 2 on my list, nowadays.
Let's go next to Sarin Petro. Go ahead, Sarin.
Tyrann, first, just to follow up, I want to make sure I quote you directly. Is that to say, I think Sam was asking, have you had talks about an extension? Can you just confirm that, yes, you have or you have not?
Oh, no, I don't. I let my agent do that. I don't get into that, no.
All right, but has your agent had talks?
Nah, he wouldn't tell me unless it's like official, so he kind of handles it until it becomes official. Then he'll let me in.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Then my question, if you to go back to the Super Bowl, I know you've had some time to reflect, and just a lot of people have wondered how much the traffic accident and the little girl being injured and Britt Reid being involved, whether that took a lot of energy out of you guys to see that kind of have that situation playing out in the building. Now that you've had time to reflect, do you think that in any way maybe took some wind out of your sails or made you guys flat for the game?
I think to begin, I think it was, obviously an unfortunate incident. And, I think, we're still praying for everybody involved. I thought really, it was just, the day that we didn't really play our best. I don't think anything went our way. And we got to find a way to kind of, dig ourselves out of that kind of hole. When we can't get anything going, we can't make a play. I think the biggest thing I took from that game is just really composure. When things aren't going your way or you can't make a play, just try your best to remain calm, keep your composure. I probably say that's really what I see when I look back, on that night.
Let's go next to Herbie Teope. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Tyrann, always good to see you, man. Hope you're well.
Yes, sir, doing well.
Hey, along those same lines, to piggyback off of that, Patrick said that he's watched the Super Bowl twice. How many times have you watched it, and how many times have you shared those exact thoughts with your teammates?
I probably watched it maybe 4 or 5 times. Every time I watch it, it kind of hurts a little bit more. So for me, like I said, it's all about staying on top of my guys. I think losses like that can kind of derail certain teams. I think for us, if we're able to kind of put it behind us but learn from it, I think it'll be one of those games that can kind of build us going forward.
Let's go next to James Palmer. Go, James.
Tyrann, I hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you. I'm curious in your first answer when you talked about your goal is to uplift guys and motivate guys. And I'm kind of curious what your process is with that in an off season. You know what I mean? Are you reading things and then kind of writing stuff down about how you want to make some phone calls or talk to some guys? How do you go about, fulfilling those goals of bringing guys up? Because that's a big part of what you do.
Well, I think, obviously it's, obviously me kind of taking responsibility, but, I think anytime you have time to kind of watch tape, you try not to just focus on your play, right? You want to look at guys around you and, if you're able to kind of give guys a nugget or kind of give guys something that they can hang their hat on going forward, I think that's the kind of position I'm in, and that's really what I want to do. I had 2 great years here, all pro seasons, whatever, people want to call it. But until other guys in my room start making a Pro Bowl and all pro, and then I'll probably be satisfied.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Tyrann, how you doing today?
Oh, well, yes, sir.
Good. Hey, you talked a minute ago about the extension. Just wondering whether or not, whenever that might happen, is it important for you to eventually get that extension and maybe extend the Chiefs portion of your career beyond these 3 years? And would you like to finish your career here if it works out that way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would love to spend the rest of, my time in Kansas City. Like I said, everybody's embraced me here. It reminds me so much of, a football town, and I think for me, that's everything, it's just waking up, seeing a family and then going to play football, so it's been a blessing to be here. I try my best not to get caught up into it. I try to let my people that work for me, really handle that. But I mean, obviously, you want to be locked in long term, but like I said, for me, it's all about, each and every day, just trying to win my day. I don't necessarily try to look 4 or 5 months down the road. I just try to put in enough work today that, things like that, are going to take care of themselves.
Got time for a couple more guys. We'll go Harold and Blair. Go ahead, Harold.
Tyrann, how you doing, man?
Doing well, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, man. Well, hey, I know you always kind of get with your yoga instructor in your mind to get your mentals right over the offseason. Just, especially after such an emotional loss in the Super Bowl, how have you kind of just got yourself prepared mentally for yet another season going into this, getting with those guys and just kind of getting your mind clear of everything?
Yeah, what I really had to disconnect for a moment. It was a long season, not just for football players, but for, the whole world. And I think to have that time, away from the game, to reflect on, life and family, and then come back to it. I think it's given me, this new motivating factor. I feel like I have, more things to accomplish, and not just me personally, but as far as team goes. So that's really my mindset right now.
We'll go last to Blair Kirchhoff. Go ahead, Blair.
Right, and I'll have a follow-up. Tyrann, I'm just wondering if, first of all, we asked Coach Reid and Patrick about vaccinations. Just wondering if you got a COVID vaccine, and do you have a message about vaccinations?
Well, I have not gotten my vaccination yet. I'm hoping that I could do it soon. But obviously, it's a choice for everybody involved. I think everybody have different perspectives on it. I think at the end of the day, it's all about, trying to put yourself in the best position to live a healthy life going forward, and then all the people around you. So I'm hoping I can get to that. I'm still kind of going through the process, me and my family, but I'm hoping we can do it.
And also, I know we spoke last summer about social unrest and kind of where the country was. And now some of these, we're kind of back where we started in some places. I'm just wondering if you have some thoughts on what you're seeing these days.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I felt like, we were kind of taking some steps to make it all right and to cross certain bridges. But, obviously it's unfortunate to kind of see some of the same things continuing to happen. And I'm actually kind of speechless. I don't really know what to say at this point. I feel like I've tweeted enough. I've talked about it enough. I don't know. Maybe it's time to just kind of get some action plans, in motion. But no, I don't really know.
Tyrann, we appreciate you taking the time today. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That is it for today. Give me 1 second here, and I can try to help you with any questions. Okay. Okay. I think you've got permission. If you need to unmute, go for it.
Hey, Brad, what's your plan with Veach? Are you still eyeing Friday?
Friday at 9:30 is what